Hi, everybody. This is Kyle Schwarm. I'm here to do my presentation on the Christian critique of mass media. First, I'd like to say that I've just thoroughly enjoyed learning from you all and Professor Monjovi. And I hope I'm saying that right because I've been saying it like Bon Jovi this whole time. But it's been really fruitful. I appreciate you all. And I am presenting to you what I interpreted as best I could. The objective of this presentation. I did my best, so I pray it makes sense, and I pray you learn something from it. So this is Pastor Mark Driscoll. He's controversial in the world of theology or pastoring. He's the former pastor of Mars Hill Church out in Washington State. And if I had to boil down, I don't question his theology too much. If I had to boil down his approach to communications, it would be abrasive and polarizing. He's a very polarizing figure. In my experience, he is, you love him or you hate him. There's really no middle ground there. So, yeah, that's Mark. So Mark, he has had some influence on me. I'm going to see if I can do this. This is him at a convention called the Elephant Room, where pastors like Matt Chandler, Stephen Furtick from Elevation, James McDonald, David Platt, a lot of these guys get together and they discuss. And in fact, it was very influential on me, just as a young man. This whole program, the Elephant Room, they discuss some major topics like what the point of the Sunday service is. Is it to preach to existing believers, or is it to recruit new believers? And there's actually some really cool debates on that. Anyways, and Mark Driscoll was co-leading that. And I just found it to be very fruitful as a young man, just like, oh, I can think for myself and not just maybe adopt the philosophies of, say, my pastor or my church or my parents. This was very beneficial to me as a young man, just to sort of think for myself and my faith. And this just happened. This right slide just happened as Mark. I didn't get the picture in all the way, but this is Mark. He was the guest speaker at James Rivers' men's conference, and he sort of called out this male dancer that James River decided to have as an opening act, and with a Jezebel spirit, Mark Driscoll, and he publicly kicked Driscoll off the stage, and it was recorded, and that did not go over well for James River. So there's that. Pastor Mark Driscoll, a once prominent figure in evangelical Christianity, is known for his controversial approach to ministry, which included a distinct communication style. Today, we delve into his concept of culturally relevant media and analyze it through a Christian lens, while also acknowledging the issues that arose from his delivery. Here's a summary of his approach. Driscoll advocated for using contemporary cultural touchstones, music, language, and references to connect with a younger generation. He believed that traditional church methods alienated young adults, and churches needed to embrace feeling like a Starbucks, relevant and inviting. And I went ahead and found this, or actually I made this through like an AI art generator, which is kind of cool. I said it's a coffee shop / church called Common Grounds. I don't know. I found it to be witty. That's that. Is Driscoll's approach distinctly Christian? I would say that it aligns with Christian worldview in a couple of ways. Reaching the lost. Luke 7:20, I think it says, 7:40, something like that. The Son of Man came to seek and save the lost. I probably should have included that. The Bible emphasizes sharing the gospel. That's, of course, the cornerstone of our faith is Matthew 28:19. He argues that the cultural relevance could be a bridge to connect with those outside the church. And it's also about stewardship. Christians are called to be good stewards of their gifts. Um, this is where Driscoll saw media as a tool to effectively communicate the message of Christ. Yeah, he's written a lot of books, has headed a lot of conferences, popular streaming. His serve at Mars Hill was a very popular streaming platform. He had a big audience through social media. Just a lot going on. Here's ways that we can apply this personally as a Christian. Using social media responsibly aligns with the concept of stewardship. We should be mindful of the content we create and share. And then social media as a whole, churches and Christian ministries can leverage social media platforms to engage young people with Bible studies, devotionals, and faith-based content presented in a culturally relevant way. Here's some strengths of this approach. Accessibility. Cultural relevance can make Christianity more approachable and relatable to younger audiences. That's so true. Even in my church experience, especially coming out of the pandemic, a lot of people have resorted to engaging with us more online than in person. And I don't think online is an adequate substitute for in-person gathering. However, something is something. We need to have something out there for those who desire to learn and hear and maybe feel like a part of God's community. Engagement by using familiar cultural references. Christians can spark conversations and pique interest in the message. This is a strength. I wanted to incorporate this. However, there are some drawbacks to only referencing. I went to a church where it's like they reference the Avengers every week. And it's like the Bible can stand on its own merit. You don't need to incorporate. So it's two sides of the same coin, in my opinion. There's strengths and weaknesses to the engagement part by being culturally relevant. You don't want to rely on knowing the checking the pulse of the culture all the time. I maintain. Here's weaknesses to this approach. A big one, superficiality. Focusing solely on cultural relevance can overshadow the core message of the gospel. Worldliness. The line between cultural relevance and compromising Christian values can be blurry. Yeah, I've seen that personally, where, I've witnessed that personally, and specifically pertaining to Driscoll's approach personally, his personal approach as a leader. He's polarizing and abrasive. Driscoll's communication style, while attention-grabbing, he is a gifted speaker. Often alienated people. His use of inflammatory language and aggressive rhetoric created controversy and ultimately contributed to his dismissal from leadership position at Mars Hill Church. Here's some suggestions of improvement. Ensure the cultural references enhance the message, not replace it. Oh my gosh. That is so vital. I cannot overstress that. Maintain a strong foundation in Scripture and Christian principles, and practice grace and humility in communication. I think we can model ourselves after the approach of Mark Driscoll and other leaders like him, where they've really leaned into the digital age, and the digital church is real. But we don't want to theologize our methodology. We don't want to co-sign Jesus to our actions as if this is what Jesus would do. We want to remain humble and usable tools for God and His kingdom, the growth of it, not the detriment of it. So These are just improvement suggestions, and I'm going a little bit long. This is my conclusion. Mark Driscoll's culturally relevant media approach has Christian aspects, aiming to spread the gospel and utilize modern tools. However, caution is needed to prioritize the message, avoid worldliness, and communicate with grace. By striking this balance and avoiding the pitfalls of polarizing rhetoric, Christians can leverage media to effectively engage contemporary audiences. And this is my works cited sheet, and I thank you all for your time. I hope you learned something. It was fun to do this, so I look forward to hearing your presentations. Bye-bye.